Hello, Anime here. I actually got a request on one of my other videos to do this video from one of my subscribers. He goes by the name Vincent Guyen, the Energetic Saiyan. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but he asked that I would put a list of action anime that have powers. So I'm going to give you a top 10 list of action anime with some of my favorite powers in them and a bunch of honorable mentions. At number 10 is Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. The powers in that anime are Hamon and Stance. So, I really enjoyed Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. The reason it is at number 10 on my personal list is I have not finished all of it. I think I'm on season 3. It's the one with Jotaro Joestar with the hat and the stands and everything. So, I have not watched all of it, so I can't really say how much better it's going to get, but so far from what I've watched, I'm going to put it at number 10. I'm going to read what they have on my anime list for the second part, I believe, of the first season that had Joseph Joestar in it. It was my favorite part. This one says, half a century later in New York City, Jonathan's grandson Joseph Joestar discovers the legacy his grandfather left for him. When an archaeological dig unearths the truth behind the stone mask, he realizes that he is the only one who can defeat the Pillar Men, mystical beings of immeasurable power who, inadvertently, began everything. Now, I highly recommend JoJo's Bizarre Adventure if you're looking for something that is fun, action-packed, colorful, has really cool powers, because I really liked the Hamon from the first season. I thought that was really cool, and I am kind of sad that they switched to the stands. It is not the same. The stands are absolutely amazing too, because it's like this other unearthly being that they control and they use it to fight. So it's very neat and it's very cool to see the way that the fights are actually done. So I'm thoroughly enjoying it and I cannot wait to keep watching it. I highly recommend it if you're looking for something that is fun and funky and just crazy, and it's a really fun show to watch. I love it. Number 9. Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter has the ability called Nen, which is very cool because it's I think 5 different abilities all put into one, and there's different types of way that you can use it. For example, the one person uses Nen it's like a bungee gum that he uses, so it's really cool because he can stick it to anything and use it in various ways, or you can use it to make spinning tops a lot more powerful. There's a lot of different really intriguing, interesting uses for this power, which is why it's really cool, because the one character, he uses it and he's got the chains, and there's different chains for each finger that have different uses. The one uses a judgment chain where he gives you rules, and then it goes and it wraps around your heart, and if you don't follow the rules, it pierces your heart. It's intense. It's such a good show. The reason I have it at number 9 is because it's honestly, I kind of got a little bored during the Hunter exam, the Chimera arc and stuff. There were little instances where I was a little bored. I really enjoyed the show, but yeah, I don't know. That's just me, because it's a really intriguing story about this kid named Gon and how his father abandoned him, and his father is a hunter. So Gon strives to be a hunter so he can go and find his dad and kind of figure out why being a hunter was more important than his son. And he kind of wanted to see what being a hunter was all about. And then you learn about all the other characters like Killua and Kurapika and Leorio, and those are the main characters, and they all have such intriguing, interesting backstories, especially Killua's, because he comes from a family of assassins. So that is very interesting to see. You kind of know how much better he is at fighting in certain instances and how brutal he actually is, because he's very brutal. So it's such an interesting and intriguing show. I highly recommend it. Some really good fights, really great action, really cool storyline. Hands down, one of the best shows out there. Number 8, Attack on Titan. I didn't read the premise from my anime list for Hunter x Hunter because I've read it before, but I'm going to read the one for Attack on Titan because I have not read that one before. Says, centuries ago, mankind was slaughtered to near extinction by monstrous humanoid creatures called Titans. forcing humans to hide in fear behind enormous concentric walls. Concentric walls? I think that's what it says. What makes these giants truly terrifying is that their taste for human flesh is not born out of hunger, but what appears to be out of pleasure. To ensure their survival, the remnants of humanity began living within defensive barriers, resulting in 100 years without a single Titan encounter. However, that fragile calm is soon shattered when a colossal Titan manages to breach the supposedly impregnable outer wall, reigniting the fight for survival against the man-eating abominations. Now, Attack on Titan is an incredibly intense, well-rounded, very good show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Not as much as the other ones on this list, and I'll kind of tell you why. I really liked it, but I think it starts out very, very strong, and then it kind of gets a little dull, so it's not as strong, and then it gets way better near the end. Like, that the last episode makes me want so much more. I'm so interested and intrigued. The power in this one is Titan shifting, so that's very cool because you find out that humanity that is living behind the walls, some of them have a power to turn into a Titan, just by what Aaron does. The main character is he bites himself, so they have to injure themselves, and that triggers transformation, and then they transform into this huge Titan to defeat the other Titans. So it's very, very cool and very interesting. Lots of action, lots of fights, very dark, deep, crazy storyline. I highly recommend it if you're looking for something that's super intense. It doesn't really have much comical moments. It does have a little bit, but it's more focused on them surviving. So it's a very good survival anime. I highly recommend it. Number 7, Full Metal Alchemist / Brotherhood. Now, I'm not going to read the My Anime List synopsis for this one. I have a lot to say about it. I love Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. They are so near and dear to my heart. They're such good shows. The whole premise of it is Ed and Elric, they did something that they shouldn't do when they were young. And the power in this one is called alchemy. And there is a rule with alchemy. It is the law of equivalent exchange. So you have to take something equivalent to what you're going to make with the alchemy. What they tried to do when they were really young and learning about alchemy is they wanted to bring their mother, who recently died, back to life. Human transmutation is completely taboo. There is nothing that you can exchange for human life. So what happened was poor Al lost his whole body and Ed lost an arm and a leg. The story is about how they go about learning more about kind of the intricacies of alchemy, how to use it, how to fight with it, more about the characters that they see, all the different alchemists they meet. The fights are absolutely astounding because alchemy is such an incredible, really interesting power, because you can literally just draw the circle or clap your hands or whatever, and there you go. You can make something out of anything. It's really cool. As long as you know what you're doing, anything can happen. So it's a very neat, well-rounded show with a very intense storyline. The reason why I have Fullmetal Alchemist and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Fullmetal Alchemist is funnier. It's very good, but it does have more humorous and funny moments than Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. And I think Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood follows more to the source material. So it's a little different. It's pretty much the same, but there's quite a bit of differences. So it's really neat just seeing the two different shows and how they're done differently and how the characters are and everything. So I definitely recommend watching them both. But I would recommend Brotherhood just a little more than the original. They are both very good shows, highly recommended, amazing shows. Number 5, Yu Hakusho. Now, I'm pretty sure I've already read the synopsis from My Anime List for this one, so I'm going to say in my own words what it's about. It's about a teenage boy named Yusuke Urameshi, and how he decided one day that he would save a kid that had a ball rolling into the street and a vehicle was coming at this kid. He jumped in the way of the kid getting hit, and he got hit instead. He ended up dying. He turned into a spirit, and that is where his journey begins. As a spirit, he's got to go through trials and tribulations to get back to his body. And once he got back to his body, he had extended like spiritual powers. So the main power in this one is spiritual power, but there also is demons, so there's demonic power too. And he uses his spiritual power as a spirit detective to help the spirit world kind of maintain balance and order in the world. And he does that with the help of another spiritually aware individual, Kuwabara, who is not as spiritually aware as Yusuke, because Kuwabara has not died. And two demons that are not very bad. Like they've got their moments, especially Hiei. And then there's Kurama. Kurama is a freaking sweetheart. I love Kurama. He is my favorite character, hands down from this show. So good. They are all such incredible, interesting characters because there's so much to them. There's so much depth to them. Especially when you find out about the bad guys. They have so much leading up to the bad guys, and then when you actually fight the bad guys, the fights are absolutely astounding because, like I said, there's spiritual power and demonic power, and I think there's one more power, can't quite remember the name of, but they just go at it, and it's just absolutely incredible. And I love this show. It is near and dear to my heart. I will always thoroughly enjoy watching this show. I just recently rewatched it with my brother because we both love the series. And I was not disappointed. I really love it. It starts off slow, so kind of get past the first little bit, and then it just picks it up from there, and it flies. It's so good. I highly recommend it. Watch it if you enjoy shows with spiritual powers and spirits and everything like that, and demons. One of my favorite demon shows ever. So well done. Number 4, The Gray Man. Pretty sure I've already said the synopsis for my anime list for this one as well, so I'm just going to say it in my own words. This one has a lot to it. It's a long anime. There is a lot to the story. It's so well done. It is literally about a teenager named Alan Walker, and you find out that when he was young, he got cursed. And he's got the white hair, and his one eye can actually see the souls of these things called Akuma. And those, you find out, are made from this guy named the Millennium Earl, which is the big bad in this whole story. He makes the Akumas, and you find out that Alan actually turned his stepfather, Mana, into an Akuma. And what happens is he comes down, and he's just like, oh, I see that you're upset because you lost a loved one. That's how Akumas are born. I'm not going to go too much into it, but that's how they're born, is from the Earl. You find out the way to fight these Akuma is what's called innocence, and that is the power in this show. Innocence takes on so many various different forms. It is so interesting to see. There is innocence for, it's boots that Lena Lee uses, the innocence that Alan Walker has, which is his arm, innocence that Lavi has, and his is a friggin' hammer. So there's so many different kinds out there, so many different powers. There's a lot of amazing fights, amazing different storytelling and world building, and it's just an all-around absolutely incredible, groundbreaking show that needs to be watched. I think that you will absolutely love it if you like really good fights, really good action, a really good story. It is long, so there is some parts where it's not the best. It does start out slow, but I highly recommend getting past that. Just keep watching because it does get better and it is amazing. Just keep watching. And there's a The Gray Man Hollow that is a continuation of it. Highly recommend. Does not disappoint. So well done, and it kind of puts the pieces of the puzzle together a little more, so you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. So it's very good. Watch both of them. And Number 3, Black Clover. Now, Black Clover is, I've already done the synopsis for my anime list. It is about Asta and Yuno and how they're orphans and they want to become the Wizard King, both of them. So they strive to kind of be rivals and fight each other. And it's so cool because Yuno is very efficient in magic. Like, he's a well-rounded, very accomplished wizard. Whereas Asta doesn't have any magic at all. But he ends up gaining what's called a grimoire, which is these books that they get that help them with their magic spells. He gets one and it gives him this anti-magic sword. So now Asta has anti-magic. He gets put into a squad called the Black Bulls, which is a squad full of the low end of the Magic Knights. And that's what they're called, is Magic Knights squads. Black Bulls is the low of the low when you first see them. Because they all have very strange, interesting powers. Because the Captain Yami picks up people that other squads wouldn't really think to give a chance. Because their powers you wouldn't see as the best for a Magic Knight squad. There is a lot of storytelling, a lot of magic fights, which I absolutely love, obviously, because Magi is on here too, and Magi is about magic, so there you go. I love both so very much, but I think the magic in Black Clover is just a little better, and that's why it's higher on my list than Magi, because there's better storytelling, the characters are more, I guess, intriguing and in-depth in Black Clover. There's a lot more that goes on because it is longer than Magi, and when I say a lot more, I mean a lot. Like, there's a lot of build-up to, like, the big main bads, and it's absolutely astounding. Where I ended up, they were going into a war, and I'm like, I'm ready. But there's no more, wasn't any more episodes, so I'm waiting for a bunch more episodes to come out so I can just watch the war and thoroughly enjoy it. This show, I 110% recommend. Get past the first little bit because it is not the most interesting. It gets a lot more interesting when they're actually going and fighting. The fights are absolutely incredible. There are a lot of fillers because it is a longer anime, so get over that and watch kind of more of the story, and you'll know what the story is because it all intermeshes like a perfect little puzzle. So definitely watch it. I highly recommend it. If you like magic, this is the anime that I believe you should watch for sure if you love magic. Number 2. Did you guess it? My Hero Academia. Now I'm pretty sure I read the synopsis for my anime list on this one, so I'm just gonna say it, just like I've done the other ones. My Hero Academia, the power in this one is called quirks, and you find out that the majority of the population has this power. I think it's like 2% or something that don't have quirks. The main character, Izuku Midoriya, finds out he is an unfortunate kid that does not have this power. He watches his favorite hero, All Might, and strives to be just as powerful and as heroic as All Might is, because All Might is the symbol of peace, the number one hero, and he wants to be exactly like that. Even though he doesn't have any powers, he still tries and he takes notes and he studies and he just wants to do his best even without having any powers. His body, you find out, can move on its own, so he doesn't even realize he wants to go save people. All Might sees this, and All Might helps him. I'm not going to say really too much about it, but Izuku ends up getting a power, and it's called For All. And with this power, he is has super strength. So with this power, it gives him super strength. So he has to learn how to use it, though, because if he doesn't, it breaks down his body. He finds that out the hard way when he goes to punch the test robot for the test of this insanely popular, like, #1 school in Japan for heroes called UA. The test was defeating robots and getting points for defeating the robots. When he went to do it, he ended up breaking his arms and his leg and stuff because he can't control the power yet with the body he has. So he's got to work up his body, he's got to learn how to control the power. So it's not just him getting a power and knowing how to use the power, it's, he's got to learn how to use the power without absolutely destroying himself, because he destroys himself so much. And it's just great. There's so much intriguing, interesting characters in this show. The storyline is absolutely incredible. I love heroes. I love the quirk power. That's so neat because there's so many different kinds of quirks out there. For anything you can think of, there's a quirk, pretty much. Like, his mom's got a quirk for moving small objects towards herself. Like, what would you need that for? I don't know. But it's really interesting to seeing all the different kinds out there. And I just find that really intriguing. I really like the story. I like how Izuku has so much growth from when he was first introduced to the power and introduced to being a hero. He goes from being this wimpy, whiny little kid to actually being pretty dang heroic in my books. So I 120% recommend. Such a well done show. It is long, so again, it does have fillers and it doesn't start out the fastest, but I highly, highly recommend it. I think you should definitely give it a watch if you like hero shows with amazing fights and powers. Watch it. Number 1. Can anyone guess what it is? Of course, it's gotta be Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is hands down my all-time favorite action anime that's got incredible superpowers, because the way that they animated it from Ufotable is beautiful. The animation is one of my favorite animated I've ever seen. So well done. The storyline is not the most original because it's got like them fighting demons and stuff. That's done quite a bit, but the way that they go about it is so cool. And what I mean by the powers is like their breathing styles and the powers that the demons have, because the demons have got blood techniques, and it's so cool just seeing the differences in each one. Tanjiro, the main character, has got water breathing style, and his is really cool because it looks like water when he uses it. Like, it looks like their style when they use it, when they fight. My favorite, though, style and power would have to be Zenitsu's, because his is like lightning, and it's so fun to watch because it's funny. He is kind of what you would think a character would react. He is very scared and does not want to die by fighting the demons, but he's got the thunder breathing, and he can use that only though when he like passes out. And while he's passed out, if he realizes he's in so like grave danger, he like comes back up, but he's still passed out, and he uses his thunderclap and flash, and that technique is insane. He moves as fast as a flash of freaking lightning and chops off the demon's head. It is incredible to watch. It's so much fun to watch. I highly, highly, highly recommend this show. The characters are all so interesting and so cool. It is getting a movie and a second season, and I cannot freaking wait because I've read the manga and we're in for a treat. It is incredible how the story continues. The anime so far has had one of the best fights, in my opinion, ever. The fight against Tanjiro and Rui was astounding. Plus, it helped that Nezuko uses her demon blood technique, so you find out she's got one of those, so that's really freaking neat. And then Tanjiro uses a different style of breathing, and that's really cool to see, kind of him switching because he's in such a dire situation that he needs to come up with a way to survive and to win and to save his sister and everything. It's so good, so well done. I highly recommend this show. I thoroughly enjoy it. I have not gone back to rewatching it. I really, really want to. So bad. So bad. So I have some honorable mentions. Let's go. So one of my honorable mentions is Naruto, of course. And that one has ninjutsu as a power, which is very cool. And it's a fun story. I thoroughly enjoy it, but not as much as the other ones. Sorry to say. Another one is Fairy Tail, and of course Fairy Tail also has magic. I love magic. Fairy Tail's magic is very different from Black Clover and Magi's magic, so it's cool to see the differences. Another one is One Piece, and that one's got devil fruits. Now, the main reason One Piece is not on my top 10, because I absolutely thoroughly love it, is it's so long. I love that it's so long and that you could stay with the characters and really enjoy watching them for a long time. But there is a lot of filler episodes and a lot that happens, and it's not that exciting. So that is the main reason. The devil fruits are really cool, so I really highly recommend it. And another one is Shaman King, and this one is the powers of a shaman. Now, the shamans have a power to take the spirit, and what they can do is they can take the spirit and make the spirit either kind of take over them so they can get more powerful, or take over a weapon to help them fight. That's really good. Another one is Tales of Cysteria, and this one is the power of a shepherd. Now, this one is based off of a game, so it's really cool, but I really, really liked it because it has such an intriguing and interesting storyline, because the shepherds are really cool, and the main character is a shepherd, and what happens is you find out that there's things called seraphim, and only certain people can see them. He's a shepherd, so he can see them. He can take on the seraphim, like their qualifications, kind of like in Shaman King, where they kind of possess them and they get more powerful. That's what he can do, and it gets more powerful, so it's really, really cool. Another one is Bleach. This one's got a couple different powers. There's the power of a Soul Reaper, Quincy, or an Arankar. Now, this one is a very long, intriguing, interesting story. The main reason I don't have it on here for my top 10 is because I thought when I was watching it before rewatching it that it got very repetitive, where each go would fight a character that was way too powerful for him. He would lose, then he would go and train, and then he would get more powerful, and then he would fight that character and he would beat them, and then he would go and train because he would fight another character that beat him. So it's like a never-ending cycle of him getting beat, going to train, beating the character that beat him, then getting beat by another character, and then he goes and trains again. So it's just was very kind of touch and go. Then the last one, or another one, is Divine Gate. Now this one has adapters, and these adapters are really cool because they can use different elemental powers. There's one that can use like fire powers, one that can use water, and the whole premise of Divine Gate is they have to find the Divine Gate, and that'll help them grant like a wish and stuff. So it's very cool. I highly recommend it. Tokyo Underground is another one, and this one has elemental users, so kind of like Divine Gate where they can use elemental powers. But this one's very interesting because you find out that there is an underground in Tokyo and people live there. It's very cool because you don't know what these people are like, and the people that live on ground don't know about this. And the main character finds out, and he's like, wow, there's a whole other world I never knew about. It's really cool. And last, but certainly not least, is the Dragon Ball series. Now, I'm talking like Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Z Kai. Those ones, I highly recommend. So, so good. I really love them because the power in this one is like key. So it's like kind of like spiritual power, where it's like the Kamehameha, where they use up their like energy and shoot blasts and stuff. So it's really fun to watch the fights. It's got different types of characters, like a wide range of characters. There's angels and gods and Saiyans and Namekians and humans, like you name it. Lots going on in this show. It's absolutely incredible. Main reason it's not in my top 10 is because it is long and it does not start out the best. Dragon Ball is pretty good, but I didn't like it as well as Dragon Ball Z and Super and all that. And even those ones, like, the way that they go about it is, if you watch the original Dragon Ball Z, there's a lot of yelling and powering up. So that is mainly why I am not put it any high, like, in my list. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed my top 10 action anime with superpowers list. And I hope you really liked the ones that I had as, like, honorable mentions, because they're all incredible, incredible shows. All so much fun and interesting to watch. I highly recommend each and every one of these shows. Like I was saying over and over again in this video, highly recommend watching them. If you like action anime, these are the shows for you. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that you will like and subscribe to become part of the Anime Nation today. I love you.